Dear friends, I, Pradeep Ashvi, welcome you to the YouTube channel of Nirpeaksh Arthashastra. To start with, I inform you that many users downloaded the software of Shape of Economy and they operated it as well, and they could see the results appearing in the screen of their computers and laptops. But most of them couldn't understand the meaning and significance of angle when they try to input different angles in the four inputs of expenditure, income, consumption, and production. They couldn't understand the desired results which can be interpreted economically in economic terms. So they fail to understand the significance and meaning of what economic significance, the inference they can draw from changing the angle. Their dilemma, I can appreciate that I never try to emphasize the significance of change of angle in these four economic fundamental activities. Therefore, now I am first introducing the significance and what economic inference can be drawn from the change in angle column appearing below each four activities of the input column appearing below these activities. I will have to tell you with the help of angle ruler, which I was introduced when the study was a study of geometry. The first class I was asked to bring a compass in which various tools to draw the geometrical patterns was to be educated with the help of these tools contained in the compass. One instrument was angle ruler. It was a half circle made of a plastic in which different angles were shown, and they indicated if you draw a line aligned with these angles, different shapes can be drawn. You will also have to be introduced how to use the compass contained in the most preliminary education when you started with. If you start using it on the computer screen or anywhere else on a paper or otherwise, you will appreciate the importance more precisely. Right now, I am showing you a graph which is, if you put it on the pole of expenditure, there is a minus column, because whenever any productive activities is to be undertaken, you will have to incur expenditure first. You can't use pole of production to start with, because production is a quantitative aspect of that economic activity, and for every productive activities you will have to income expenditure on it, which is a monetary value. Therefore, the first, if you want to increase any productive activity, you will have to incur expenditure, and there you will have to place the core of the angle ruler, and then start the input column in which direction you want to go. Right now, the default angle is 180, because this default value is because you have to start somewhere how to input and change the angle of it. If you want to make expenditure on productive activities, which I have mentioned in the select input. You will have to first choose expenditure and then different heads of expenditure. The most productive activities are expenses on roads, railways, waterways, air transport, core sector industries, manufacturing industry, service sector, education, health, etc. And most important is agriculture. I need not explain the importance of each of these heads of expenditure. You have to appreciate yourself that without any one of these, the production activities in total can have any significance. Here I have chosen the default value of 135. You have to always minus 100. Why? The ideal square earlier appearing in red dotted line, each has income, consumption, production, and expenditure have default value of 100. So in any case of input, you have to add more than 100. It can be expressed in terms of the monetary value in, it may be 10 lakhs, 10 crores, 1 million, 100 million, or a billion, whatever value you assume you want to incur as expenditure. So, first default value I told you this 100, and I have added 35 because the total has to be 135. I have allocated different aspects of it. Now, if you put angle ruler on the square, because the changes are to take place in the square that we call square of economy. So, if you put angle ruler on the point where the two axes, one goes to income and another goes to production. Now, production can always be converted into income. Whatever expenditure you are making, it will be transferred to income. Therefore, you have to draw a parallel line that is appearing in the red dotted line and then start interpreting it. If you put the angle ruler at this point, you will see and it can interpret the importance of it. If you choose 90-degree, now I am telling you the importance by making a input below the total expenditure. I will put a value, a input of 90-degree, and immediately you will find that a line in blue line is increased vertically. Earlier it was horizontally, and now the due to change in the angle it is vertically. What does it signify? That expenditure is incurred on the expenditure appearing in the appearing heads, and almost all the activities are related to increase the productive activities in the GDP or any other economy. It can be a company, it can be individuals also, or it can be big conglomerate also, or a national economy also. Here, you must always keep on watching. The net deviations are taking place. You will find that earlier it was 0, now the net deviation is 8.75. It means the size of the circle has gone up. The circle emphasizes the change in square. Earlier, the square was in a perfect sphere and a perfect square within it. Now, since the square is no more perfect, therefore, the circle has also assumed a different shape. And this 8.75 signify the how much change has taken place due to increased expenditure. You have to also understand that the circle is drawn touching the four corners of income, consumption, production, and expenditure, and how the variations can be interpreted because of these changes by making a input and draw a perfect interpretation of your analysis. Since I have drawn a perfect line, a different kind of shape has assumed. The area is now different from the earlier ones. Now, how much changes has taken place because of the change in the square of economy? You can interpret it differently by choosing the input in areas, because change has always to be interpreted in terms of area contained in the square of the economy. Earlier, how much it was, and now how much it has changed. You will find that expenditure increase has caused in the pole of expenditure. Earlier, it has to be 2,500. Now it has increased 3,170 due to increased expenditure on productive activity. The income is minus. This is because a vacuum has been created by the expenditure. If you increase the monetary value, it has to be converted in the economic pole of income as well. And unless there is a disparity between the two, how the transfer of monetary activity can take place. Therefore, income has always to be less than the expenditure. Only then the expenditure can increase the GDP of that economy. If it is on productive cost, the demand side has to be less than the supply side, and supply is of physical goods and services converted in terms of monetary value of expenditure. Because if the demand is more and supply is less, the position of scarcity of goods and services will result in increase of goods and services. That is the state which we normally call as inflation. The prices will shoot up and the people will suffer. If there is a more supply and less consumption, the supply growth will cause the prices to increase, because now the supply is more than the consumption was less. So the goods and services will be cheaper. Now you can compare it with the earlier input of 180 degree, which was the default value. If you change it here once again, the default value, you will find just opposite of it. Now the demand side has increased in both terms of income and consumption, and availability of goods and services is less than the earlier one, which was on the productive side. It means the expenditure monetary value will be more, income will be more, and the production supply will be less. In economic terms, it will cause inflation because supply is more, demand is less. Just opposite of earlier illustration will cause it. So this is the economic significance of changing the angle, and immediately you can calculate yourself what values are appearing in income, consumption, production by using different geometrical shapes that are available to you in the choice of like this. If you choose, now you have a clear idea of demand, supply, availability of physical goods and services, and how much money inflation you can otherwise call, how much liquidity available in the national economy was there earlier and now. The monetary supply has increased by 27%, whereas the physical availability is minus 6.61. The demand, because the availability of monetary value, demand has increased by 6.61%, and the supply is not as much increase from this unproductive expenditure. We revert back to the comparison between the difference in angle has now been restored to 90 degrees, and the economic significance has also been told to you that how different values have changed in the changed square of economy. Now, how the transfer value of income, because expenditure, if there is an outflow, there has got to be inflow somewhere. Expenditure has to be converted in income. Therefore, you have to, next choice will have to be income. Since the income has to increase, you will have to place the angle ruler on the center of production, but now it will have to be sideways. It will not have to be aligned on the line of income and expenditure, rather on income and consumption. Then you will have to see how much deviation in income will cause. Here you want to increase the income on vertical line. So vertical line means 180 degrees. Because the same value has to transfer, now you will have to make a further entry of same monetary value which we put earlier, that was 135. Since you have to create a vertical line, therefore the alignment will have to be like this. Now the monetary supply has increased from earlier value of 2500. Now it is 2531, or 41% increase in the income of citizens of that country. And now the demand is also more, supply has also increased compared to demand. So this is the net effect. Now you have to keep watching the net deviation taking place, which represents, can be inferred as the growth of GDP. Now it is 21.23% that the economy is now growing at the rate of 21.23%. This is the inference you keep on drawing by change in the angle. you can now put the how much change it has caused in activity of consumption in terms of physical availability of goods and services consumed by the consumers of that economy. Here you will have to put the angle ruler upside down. This is because the consumption has now to increase the production. If you want to affect the pool of production, then you will have to again put the angle ruler on the consumption column, consumption pole of the square. It has not changed so far. It is still touching the circle of the sphere of economy. Here once again you will have to make a value input. So you have to select input first and then choose consumption and then put a value there once again of the 135. Now this will be the change shape, that if the income is used to consumption, the consumption is always dependent on the availability of income in that country with the citizens, with the people residing in that country. So, if the liquidity in terms of income is more, they will use it for consumption, maybe for immediate needs, or they may keep it in whatever surplus income they have earned in banks, and there are various ways. They can always choose saving bank account or fixed deposit account, or they can investment in shares, they can invest in buying the land, or utilities like car, two wheelers, and there are so many others. I need not emphasize you for which purpose consumer use their income for this, but it is always advisable to have more income than consumption. Only then the financial sector, banking sector can grow, because they know that they have a saving, and this saving can be given as a loan to those who need it, mostly the suppliers who install their factories and various other factors of production, man, money, market. All these are five factors of production which the banks can, any entrepreneur can use it for their purpose. And it is very important to understand that they have to earn profit to loan repayment they have from financial institutions. So there must be a profit earned by the suppliers, manufacturers, everyone who is engaged as an individual or a group of people, companies and partnership firms, anything you can call it, they always grow because of the profit. So their income should always be more than the expenditure. Only they can survive in the competitive world economy. So now you can see that since the physical availability has increased from the earlier value of 2500 to 2276, and supply has also gone up in similar proportion of 2625. So if the supply is more, demand is more, the entrepreneur will earn profit from it, because they know the demand is there and they can safely forecast the demand growth and what will be the status of supply in that case. If they fail to supply the quantity demanded, then in that case their product will be out of competition, because any other product producer will fill up the vacuum and snatch market share from that supplier. So these are all the fundamentals of economics. Every student of finance, economics, or anywhere else who's attracted to invest in any economy will first estimate how much demand is going to come from that economy. The current status you will find, since the Indian economy is growing at the fastest rate in big economies of the world, therefore most of the producers are trying to invest in India with the hope of earning profit. Because in any other economy, major economy, there is a state of recession, and due to miscalculations in Chinese economy, who those regulate and use it quite differently, so they don't rely on that economy. And since the Indian economy, the Indian system is democratic, more transparent, and offers a big market of demand by increased income due to growth in GDP. Now, if you find there is a growth of 30% in net deviation that I have already explained you, it is due to increase in activity of consumption. Now the consumption activity has to affect the availability of productive activities. Therefore, now you will have to once again put the angle ruler on the line of consumption and production vertically, the way we put the angle ruler in consumption and vertical position on the line of expenditure and income. So now you will have to first make the input in the production column, select input, you will have to put production and then put a value there of 135. So now this is the position. The square of economy has changed and all the values contained therein has also changed. None of the value you will find has decreased, rather increased. Monetary supply has increased by 21%. Demand has also grown by 24%. Physical availability is now indicating a much higher growth of 60%, and supply is less than the demand emanating from consumers, that is 56%. So that means the economy is ready to take a jump. Now the productive activities will have to offer more goods and services by creating new infrastructure in manufacturing activity. In all the activities, the production heads once again are the same. Now you will have to reinvest in that economy to match the physical availability of goods and services. So the supply will have to be more, and now the income is already there with the citizen of that country. They have the ability to consume it and supply. In the hope of future growth of demand, they will start investing more and more to create supply line, market their products, offer their new products, and match the demand by using the demand forecast likely to be there. So this is how the GDP growth is now. Net deviation you will find that 40% 0.75% growth has already taken place in the economy. I am using the word economy. That is because of the fact that I am a resident of India and I know the growth potential of Indian economy. So I know what deviations are taking place and how it is affecting the growth of economy. Now there is a more meaningful interpretation of change in angles of income expenditure, consumption and production. The monetary value is now stable at 3025. Demand is almost same. It has also grown by 41.13%. Physical availability is also matching. The earlier value was 2500. Now it is 3525. That is also 41%. And supply is also in a perfect shape of, because there is now parity of 3541 was the increase in demand, and supply is also same. So now you will find that earlier square within the sphere of the economy is almost same. It is not actually same, but the here you will have to understand the significance of the center point. That is, earlier whenever you made the changes, the deviation, because ideal shape has had ideal center point. Now it is the actual center point which indicates the stability of the economy. It is almost 0, 0. It means now it is a most perfect state of that economy, and any further input in expenditure is going to indicate at the rate economy is poised for growth. At what rate it can. Now it was the earlier value 135. Now any increase will tell you at the rate at which the economy can grow. Like 135 was the earlier value. Now I increase it by 25. You can choose any one of the activities, then you can bifurcate it further. Like say a further increase of 25, it may be a lakhs, crores, a million, billions, whatever you call it. In that case, the economy is the rate of growth. The earlier one was 44%. Now it is 49%. So this is the way the projections of growth of economy can be forecasted, and investors can be attracted to create new facilities, goods and services sector, core sector, whatever sector they want to invest, because this is the most ideal condition. So most of the investors will invest in that economy. So in sum and in totality, I have explained you the significance of change in the angle by using the angle ruler, but that is only to initially understand. You need not, because say this is the elementary education, what angle signifies. So now without any use of angle, you can always change the angle, that whether it's a productive expenditure, whether it's a unproductive expenditure, what effect it causes, whether it increases demand, whether it increases supply, whether it will cause inflation, whether it will cause recession. All these scenarios I will explain you one by one by using the same graph of economy, and help you understand how the deviations are taking place and what do they signify. And you must understand and appreciate this is a solution offered by coordinate geometry. All the equations to create this software are mathematics of coordinate geometry, because a geometrical pattern has to be presented to signify the status of the economy. So there cannot be any better tool of mathematics than this. The formulas are standard, accepted. There cannot be any dispute. There cannot be drawn any other interpretation than this. Maybe if you draw different choices in the values and angles, but in particular, you will be confused, and you can always draw a wrong interpretation of changing pattern of economy taking place due to variations in choice of angle. I am dedicating this discussion for this purpose only, that most of the users who have downloaded it, they fail to understand the significance of this particular input and then use it for understanding the basic understanding they have so far, because earlier it was not considered that economics can be integrated with the mathematics. It was never envisaged, never appreciated. They created econometric models for a particular economic activity and detailed analysis of that, but integrated use of a econometrics model was never available, and a never attempt was made to integrate economics with mathematics. This facility, I must say, I must claim that the shape of economy, this particular facility is offered by only this software. So please understand and appreciate it, and try to cultivate understanding in different forums in your own education institute. Otherwise, economics will always be interpreted politically, and it will always create conditions of war, turmoil, and similar other disturbances, because political ideologies have no logical understanding that what is going to next. They present different scenarios of economic development to their citizens, they believe it also, but when the actually adverse results come to them, there is a state of shock. That is why now a new world order is emerging fast, and everybody is trying to find a suitable place in changing geopolitical atmosphere. It's in a constant flux. But who understands and interprets what is the most ideal way to integrate the world economy? They must depend on choice of mathematics rather than politics. So it has lot of potential in that way. I need not signify that tomorrow or day after tomorrow it will happen. It may take years to pass on the message of shape of economy, but someday or other, when the understanding is more about these kind of tools, certainly a brighter future awaits our generation and generations to come, because this is the choice which cannot be changed in the future also. Mathematics is going to remain same, economic logic is going to remain same, so interpretation will also remain same. So you can always predict a peaceful and durable future for our generation. So this is the legacy this software offers to the present generation and for the future generations as well. Now I end software. If you have any other suggestions to make, any other modifications to be made in interpretation of the logic I have suggested to you, I will be obliged that how it can be done and accommodate it. So please do comment if you have understood or not. And if there is any problem, please let me know, because unless I get the feedback from the viewers, it is impossible for me to change the different meanings assigned to this changing patterns in the shape of economy. Till then, thanks.